I'm Scott Hansen. I'm a professor at Southern Utah University. I teach in the CAD/CAM engineering technology area, and this module of SolidWorks will include instruction on how to create a basic part, and then we'll project that part into a 3-view drawing and create an auxiliary view and a section view. So first we'll start by moving our cursor to the little white piece of paper. We'll left click. The new SolidWorks document dialog box will appear. This has the 3 types of documents that we can create in SolidWorks. We're going to start with a part, and then we'll eventually project that part into a drawing. For now, we'll left click on part, and then we'll left click on OK. And these are the tools that are used when a solid has been created. We're going to left click on this sketch tab, and these are the tools that are used to create geometry that will eventually become a solid. So we'll left click on the sketch icon. We'll move our cursor to the front plane. When it becomes highlighted, we'll left click once. Then we'll right click on the screen anywhere in the work area. We'll scroll down to the bottom and we'll left click on display grid. I prefer to have the grid on so I can tell which area of the software I'm in. And then we'll left click on line, and we'll just create a box. Something that looks like this. Then we'll right click, select, which is the same thing as left clicking on this green check mark. Either one works. We'll left click on Smart Dimension. And we'll left click on the left side line, and we'll enter a 2. And then we'll left click on the bottom line, and we'll enter a 5. And then we'll hit the green check mark. We'll right click, exit out of the sketch. I'll need to select the Features tab, left click on Features, we'll left click on Extrude, and we'll enter a 2, and we basically should have a box that looks similar to what is shown here. I'll use the mouse wheel to scroll out just a little bit. I'm going to left click in this work area to hide that original sketch. And the first thing we'll do is put a chamfer on this because we need a offset surface to use to create an auxiliary view. So I'm going to left click on this little arrow below fillet, left click on chamfer. We'll make sure our dot is in full preview, and we'll left click on the distance option, and we'll left click on this edge, and it will give us a preview. And then we'll just start plugging in some values here. We want this to be probably 1.5, and distance 2 should be about 3. And then we'll left click on the green check mark, and we should have a sloped surface similar to what is shown. I'm going to push the mouse wheel down, holding the mouse wheel down using the rotate command. I'm going to rotate this part around so I have access to the back side. We're going to put a sketch on this back side, and we'll create a hole there for an extruded cut. So once the surface becomes highlighted, I'm going to right click. I'll left click on sketch, which is new sketch. We'll move our cursor up to the circle command. We'll left click once, and we'll just kind of float the center of this circle in. We'll dimension it here in just a minute. We'll left click, right click, select. We'll left click on Smart Dimension, and I'm going to pick the edge of the circle. I'll left click and we'll enter 1.75. And then we'll dimension from the edge. And we'll dimension from this other edge. Then we'll right click, hit the green check mark. We'll right click, exit sketch. And we'll left click on extruded cut. I'm going to push the mouse wheel down to rotate the model around. We entered a 5 for our overall length, so we'll have a cut that's 5 inches in depth. We'll hit enter, and that gives us a preview and shows before we get out of the cut extrude command if that's really going to be deep enough, and it is. So we'll left click on the green check mark, and I'll left click out here in the work area to hide that original sketch. Now, before we create a 2 or a 3 view drawing, we need to save this. So I'm going to move my cursor up to the little arrow next to the SolidWorks text and go to File, Save. I'm just going to save mine in a temp file. Then we move our cursor up to the little white piece of paper, and just to the right of that is a drop down arrow. We're going to leave this file open. We'll left click and left click on Make Drawing from Part Assembly. And we'll left click once, and that will put us in the drawing area. The sheet format size dialog box will appear. We're just going to take the defaults, the ANSI landscape, left click on OK, and the view palette will appear. And because we sketched our original sketch on the front plane, the front view conveniently is what we want to use for a front view. So I'm going to move my cursor over this view. I'm going to left click, holding the left mouse button down. I'm going to drag this view over as the front view. Now, hooked to the cursor is going to be the top view. I'll move that above, left click, and we'll create a side view clear over here towards the right to leave room for a section view. We'll left click one time, and then we can put the isometric view here just for fun. Now, there's views still attached to the cursor. You just move your cursor over to the green check mark and left click one time. Okay, then we left click on the View Layout tab, and the first thing we'll do is create a section view. So we need to hit Escape 2 or 3 times, make sure we're really out of any commands, and that make sure no views have been selected. Then we'll left click on Section. We'll move the cursor down to the front view, and attached to the cursor is going to be the cutting plane line. So we'll place it about right there. I'm going to left click one time. Then we'll hit the green check mark, and attached to the cursor is a section view. And we'll left click one time and then hit the green check mark. Now, the auxiliary view is created in the same fashion. We'll hit escape several times to make sure that we don't have views selected or we're out of any command. We'll move our cursor up to the auxiliary view icon, left click on that once, move the cursor down to the front view, right on the line, typically left click right on that line, and the auxiliary view will show up. I don't have quite enough room on my drawing for it. I'm just going to place it right there. Let me left click one time, left click on the green check mark, and we have now created a section view and an auxiliary view. And that concludes this module on creation of an auxiliary view and a section view.